And here we are yet again. We're back. We're open. We're on the case, y'all. Okay, y'all. We are on something new. Wait, let me hang it up. And look, I found like my third little magnet thingy. So it's not gonna fall for real. Look at that. Boom. We're good. Did y'all see Scott's newest thing? I think it's in preparation for that new movie Wolfman. It was a coincidence, but I'm gonna just say, oh, it's an advertisement for Wolfman, a free advertisement. So anyway, we're back. We're on the case. It's of course Sherlock, Watson, you, Scott, me, the same old crew, like the Scooby Doo crew. We're on the case as per usual. We're back to our book. You know, we got Sherlock Holmes. I didn't flag something because, child, we got to read this old foolishness. Okay, so today we are doing the adventure of the Beryl Coronet, and this is why I have my little crown on. It is not my birthday. This is the only crown I own, so I decided to put it on because this adventure entails a crown, child. And I mean, a man trying to marry his first cousin. He didn't propose like 2-3 times. The daddy's in on it. Everybody's in on the man proposing. So anyway, so here we go. Scott, did you have any questions? Did you have anything?
Not yet. Just to see how this one unfolds.
About the man trying to marry his cousin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, so we enter with Sherlock and Watson, you know, hanging out, doing they due diligence. They chilling in the house. This is before Watson gets married. You know, here time is illusion, baby. We don't do sequence. So anyway, so they're hanging out and they looking out the window and they like, y'all see that? Holmes, Watson, like, Holmes, you see that man over there? He over there walking all crazy. I mean, he dressed real nice, honey. He clearly got money. Okay. He got his red bottoms on. I don't know what the equivalent of red bottoms during that time was, but he got his red bottoms on, baby. He got all his expensive gear. He Gucci down or whatever. But the man walking kind of crazy, girl. He twirling in circles. He up there like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. He's over there doing the most, and it just looked crazy. And so Holmes is like, well, it looked like he coming over this way, so just buckle your seatbelts, honey. Buckle your seatbelts because he coming this way, honey. It looked like he need us. And so the man comes in, and honey, this man clearly needed like some stress management. He needed to figure out how to manage his grief, manage his expectation, manage something, honey, because he comes in and I'm just gonna read it. I'm just gonna read what the man was doing. So a few moments later, he was in our room, still puffing, still gesticulating, but so fixed a look of grief and despair in his eyes that our smiles were turned in an instant to horror and pity. For a while, he could not get his words out, but swayed his body and plucked at his hair like one who had been driven to the extreme limits of his reason. Then, suddenly springing to his feet, he beat his head against the wall with such force that we both rushed upon him and tore him away from the center of the room. Sherlock Holmes pushed him down into the easy chair and, sitting beside him, patted his hand and chatted with him in the easy, smooth, soothing tones which he knew so well how to employ. Now, baby, if there wasn't a time where Watson needed to bring out that brandy, this might have been a time. Like, maybe not for the man who was missing that thumb. Well, probably for the man that then too. But this time, like, why are you beating your head against the wall, sir, like you a hammer? What are you doing? Why are you pulling out your hair? What are you doing? Like, sir, what would make a man do this? Scott, what would make a man beat his head against the wall? Just come into some stranger's house, because he don't know Sherlock Holmes from nobody. Come into a stranger's house and start pulling out his hair and beating his head against the wall. What would make a man do that?
I'm not quite sure. Sounds crazy.
That man ain't crazy. So they find out that his name is Alexander Holder, and he is a wealthy banker. Like, Sherlock Holmes knew who he was before he was like, okay, girl, I know who you is. Once he said the name, he was like, I know who you are. So he's a wealthy, banker. And he came over there because he's like, I know you know who I am. He was like, I had a client, and he started to say who the client was, but then he was like, oh, I'm going crazy, but I ain't going that crazy. Let me keep, honey. Okay, I won't tell your secrets. Your secrets are safe with me, and so is your money. Now put it in my bank. So anyway, so he started saying, hey, I had this really, 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 really well-known client, known all over the world. We'll just say royalty. We'll just say royalty. Walks in, I'm over there like, oh my gosh, your highness. He never tells Sherlock who this person is because, confidentiality is a thing with banks and people with a lot of money. So, he's rolling out red carpet, and the person's like, I don't need the red carpet. What I need is $4 million. I did the conversion for what this man was asking. It was $4 million. He needed 4 million pounds, whatever.
Wow.
Sterling, whatever we call in the currency right now.
I need $4 million.
Me too. Well, let me tell you how he got it. So with this man, even though he knows this is high-end royalty, they still need collateral. Banks don't play, honey. Banks don't play. Even back in the 1800s, even with the royal family, they was like, well, you gonna need some collateral here. What you got for collateral besides you, honey? Because if you over here need $4 million, clearly you need to give me some collateral because you ain't good with money. Okay, so what did the person produce? Bam, the crown. The crown. He was like, he or she, the person, Alexander never says, just was like, here, take this crown that everybody has seen placed on my head during the coronation or whatever. Take this crown. It's about $4 million. And Alexander's just like, girl, you just gonna leave your crown here with all these emeralds and diamonds and all that? Okay, girl, you can have it for me. You can have the whole bag. I don't care. Well, he didn't say all that. He should have. I would have. And this is why I'm not a wealthy banker. So he was like, cool. Let me give you the 4 million pounds. Now the person assured him, hey, I only need it for a week. I'm gonna come back for my crown because that don't even belong to me, really. That belongs to the country. Well, I think when you have that much clout and money and notoriety, you probably shouldn't go to the pawn shop. They gonna think you on drugs. If you nobility, and I mean not like low level, like this person had a Beryl Coronet. That's coronation. Like that's like King Henry VIII, Queen Elizabeth type, like foolala. Not like this, not birthday queen. So, he's like, yeah, here, take the 4 million, bring it back whenever you're ready. Thank you for trusting my bank. And so the person left, whatever, no big deal. This person is not important to this story, as you'll find out later. But they are, well, really, the crown is important to the story. So, he's like, okay, cool. So he's like, I decided. So Alexander is like, I decided not to leave the crown in the bank. I decided to take it home with me instead, which is an interesting choice.
That sounds like a good idea.
This is why we're on the case. So I was like, that's an interesting choice. So he's like, I'm going to take it home because I know I can secure it better than this bank that has money and stuff that no one has ever taken, but whatever. So he takes it home and he decides to lock it in his chest. In the UK, they have like chest drawers, and you can lock them or whatever. He decides to put it in his wardrobe, like in his closet kind of thing where his outfits are, in his chest, and he's just gonna lock it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, that's okay. That's a choice that people make at times. So he was telling Sherlock, he was like, let me explain who live in the house with me. He was like, my son Arthur, who is a big disappointment. Arthur grew up, he's a spoiled rich kid, child. So, as it goes with some spoiled rich kids, not all, but some of them do. He decided to take the track of my daddy rich, I got money, I'm loaded, I'm gonna do what I want. So he went to school, he met up with a bunch of other rich kids, but the one rich kid that he was tight with was Sir George Burnwell. That's the homie. That's the homie right there. They like this. And so he was like, my son never went to college. He didn't do anything more than just go to high school, meet this dude, and then they start running the streets. And what came out of my son running the streets was he got a gambling addiction, which is like a thing. Like, if you think it's a thing now, it was a thing then too, honey. Gambling has been going on since forever.
So why did this guy think bringing this to his house was better than keeping it at the bank?
Scott, you're asking the questions that no one has an answer for because it ain't in the book. We can make up whatever we want.
Okay.
Whatever you feel the answer is. I think it was ego.
I think he wanted to impress some lady.
I'm just gonna let me point something out with Scott real quick. Scott always thinks something got to do with some man trying to get some woman. Just FYI for y'all out there. That's what Scott always thinks. This is why he get on punishment. Because it's always about some woman either not being hot or being hot, some man chasing some woman. This is what he does every time. It does not matter. We could be talking about aliens and he gonna be like, well, why did they go up there? Because he wanted some alien. Like, what's that movie, Total Recall? Remember that chick was like, want to have some fun? So, yeah. So, back to this story. Stop sidetracking me. Oh my God. This is because I got this crown on. So, anyway. So, then there's also Mary, who is his brother's daughter. Her father had passed away. And, she was still young, so he took her on in. And he was like, oh my God. Like, the way he describes her is like completely night and day. It's totes night and day. He's like, oh my God, it's like the sun came into our house. She's just so warm. She's just so awesome. She's amazing. We needed a woman in the house. She keeps everything clean. She keeps us together. She's such a big ray of sunshine that my son has proposed to her twice. And then here he goes on talking about some, and she probably would have made his life better. Sir, why he can't make his own life better? And you his daddy, why didn't you teach him to make a better life? Why she got to do it? She probably still grieving her father that passed away. Oh my God. Lots of expectations, but it don't matter because we going to get to the end of this. So, and then of course there are the servants that work there. There's and then there's this new servant, Lucy. And then, so there are a bunch of servants. There's I think he said 13, 14 servants, and then Lucy. So, so that's the household. That's who we dealing with. We playing a game of Clue. Who done it? What?
How many people were at the bank?
Okay, so I stand corrected. Scott doesn't always think about the man trying to get the woman. This time he worried about the bank. So, he dismisses all the servants for a little bit. He lets them go on lunch or whatever. And he's like, come in, Arthur and Mary. Come on over here. Let's have a little discussion here. You see this crown? It's from nobility or whatever. It's from royal family or whoever. I don't know. We don't know who did it, who it is. You see this crown? I'm keeping it here because I'm security. Remember that dude in our old place we used to live that used to pretend he was security? Boom, that's Alexander. I'm security. So I'm going to take this crown and put it in my little cupboard. I'm going to throw it in there. I'm going to throw it in that sucker. And I'm going to lock it up. Now, here come Arthur. Again, Scott's gonna probably have something to say. You can say something in the comments if you want. It's gonna be timestamped. Arthur's like, well, why would you put it there? I used to break into. He was like, that little flimsy cabinet so easy. You could stick anything in there and open the lock. Now here go Alexander talking about, oh, my son just be talking reckless, sir. Just red flag here and red flag there and red flag and egos everywhere. And so he's like, look, I just want to let y'all know, because I'm securing this thing here. I just want to let you know that this crown is in my cabinet, my cupboard, whatever, wardrobe, whatever it was. It's in my cabinet with the flimsy lock that Arthur used to break into when he was like 6, because it's easy to break into. It's over there. What you got, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, this guy's gonna get what he deserves or something.
Period. Play stupid games, get stupid prizes. That's a lesson early before we get to the lesson part. That's lesson number 1. Play stupid games, get stupid prizes. Hashtag Arthur. So he goes, everybody goes to sleep. He brings the servants back. Everybody goes to sleep. Now, sometime during the night, he goes out because he wanted to check the door. He wanted to check the windows and the doors and make sure everything was locked, because nobody else in the world knows that he has this thing but the 2 people he told. He could have just narrowed it to 1, but here we are. Here we are. Here we are in this story. On this case of Clue, whodunit. And so he secured and locks, and he sees Mary. She just shuffles from somewhere, and she's like, hey, that new servant Lucy? I just saw her with her boyfriend. She just was in the window with her boyfriend. And he was like, okay, well, maybe they were kissing and snuggling like Romeo and Juliet. I don't know. That doesn't matter. So off to bed he goes. Just red flags everywhere, just flying honey, huge as this puzzle I'm going to show y'all on my little short. And this man is like, I got to go to sleep, honey. I'm securing a crown here. So he's woken up by a bunch of scuffling, like that. He's woken up. He's suddenly woken up at night out of his sleep. And what would you know? There's Arthur standing there with the crown, bending it, doing something to it, doing something to it. And he's like, you scoundrel, how dare you, blah, 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 you thief. Oh, I'm sorry, wait. Again, nothing's in sequence in this story. I forgot. Roll this back. Before we even locked them doors and stuff, I forgot a part. So roll back. Pretend like I didn't tell you that Arthur was in there bending stuff. So rewind. After he tells them, hey, I got this crown up in here in this flimsy locked cabinet, Arthur comes in the room later and is like, hey, Dad, can you loan me $200? You can't make this stuff up. Well, you can if you Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, honey. He did it. So you can't make this stuff up. So anyway, so Alexander's like, get out of here. You just go take the money and gamble. No, I ain't giving you nothing. Get on out of here. Shoo. And so, Arthur's like, you ain't got to do me like that, Dad. And he leave on out. Then he goes and locks the window. Then Mary tells him about Lucy and her man. And then he goes to sleep. And then he hears because we got to fast forward real quick. 3 times. 3 time it. And then he's over there playing with the crown. And then he's like, Arthur, you scoundrel. The hell you doing over there with my crown that I'm guarding, that I'm securing? They could have been in a bank, in the safe lock thing, but no, it's here in this flimsy cabinet in this cabinet with the flimsy lock. So Arthur's over there diddling with this crown, and he's like yelling. Alexander's like yelling at him, and he's like, "Give me that crown!" And he notices, oh my God, 3 diamonds are missing. There aren't any diamonds missing on my little cheap thing, but on their thing, on their real expensive, over $4 million crown, 3 diamonds are missing, and it's bent. And so he's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. He probably wants to like throw up. Because I would, if I had some real crown jewels and I knew they were coming back for him in like a couple of days, I would be maybe I would be beating my head on the wall and pulling out my hair. Would you, Scott?
Could be, yeah. Not a good situation.
Nope. What happened?
Well, then again, I wouldn't have brought it home to my dusty son and, all my underpaid servants
and my niece who my son wants to marry. Because that's in the title, baby. He asked like 2 times. The daddy was in on it. The dad mentions it like 2 or 3 times in the book.
Then whatever woman was trying to press that is not telling us about.
I'm not doing this with Scott. I'm just ignoring Scott at this point. So just get ready for that. So he's like, so him and Arthur, Alexander and Arthur are fighting. He's like, you loser, you stole it because you wanted some money, blah, blah, blah. They like getting in. It's like Jerry Springer. It's not like Jerry Springer. It's more like, what's a light fight? I don't know, like 90 Day Fiance. It's like that. It's definitely not like Zeus TV. We watched a documentary on Zeus. That was crazy. That was wild. It's definitely not like Zeus. So, in the end, Alexander ends up calling the police on his son. Which, okay, if you don't want to implicate the royal family in on what's going on, like this is just a mess here. This is a mess. Because now you done got the police involved, and now you got to say what was stolen. And the police, I would think, would be like Scott asking, like, well, why did you bring it home, though? Let me tell you, Alexander probably was walking around wearing it. That's what I would do. If you're from the royal family and you are looking for a banker, don't come here. But if you just want to have somebody hold your crown, honey, don't bring it here. Because I'm telling you, I'm going to be all on every social media platform like, girl, yes, I ain't no queen, but today I am for the next 60 minutes I am, baby. He probably was, honey, doing all kinds of stuff, probably hired a sketch artist because I don't think photography was in, or if it was, he probably hired a photographer, honey. It was taking pictures in that thing, honey. He probably took a bath in that crown, honey. He probably was a king for a week. That's what I would do. I don't know. Put what you would do in the comments, because honey, I would be flossing, just rolling through the streets in carriages with my crown on. And that's probably why he brought it home. What say you, Scott?
Yeah, you know why I said he brought it home.
I don't even know why I haven't included him again. I shouldn't have did that. That was my fault. That was shame on me. So, he called the police, and the police went about looking all through his house for the 3 gems that were missing. They didn't find it. Now, as Arthur was getting arrested, he was like, can I get 5 minutes and go outside? And his daddy like, girl, like, sir, no, get in them handcuffs. Get in the handcuffs and go to jail. And so Sherlock Holmes is listening to the story, and he like, girl, he was like, well, I don't think it was Arthur. I don't think it was your son. Well, before we get there, here we go. Alexander just boo-hooing, crying, snot bubbling, because he's like, I lost the crown. I lost my son. I lost this. I lost that all in one day. I don't even know. I don't even know what to do. He's like, the only comfort is just that Mary's there. And Sherlock is just sitting there like, girl, I don't think it was Arthur. And Alexander's like, oh, you so nice. You so kind. I see why people told me to come here. You so nice and kind. But he was like, honey, I saw the man with my own eyes in my little raggedy cabinet with the flimsy lock going up in there, bending stuff. I didn't see where the diamonds went, but he was there. I saw him. He was the last to touch it, whatever. So Sherlock Holmes is like, So he was like, let's just go on over to your house. Let me just assess the crime scene. Let me talk to the people there. Let me look at some stuff. Let me see. Just let me see. Ain't that what I always say, Scott? Let me just go see. Because I don't know what y'all talking about. My intuition telling me it ain't your son. He dusty, yes, but he ain't do nothing with this crime. So he goes to the house, and the first person they see is little Mary. Now, Mary is, honey, when this all went down and she saw that crown in Arthur's hand, she fainted. She hit the floor, honey. Get the smelling salts. She hit the floor. And she ain't been right since. She's been crying. She's been inconsolable. Mary is over there just having a bad time. And so Sherlock and them get to the house. She's white. They talk about how pale she is, how she's crying, how she just can't take it. And she keeps telling her uncle, Alexander, like, hey, it was not Arthur. She sided with Holmes. She's like, it was not Arthur. And Alexander's like, well, why was he standing there? And why didn't he say nothing? And why didn't he deny it? And why ain't he saying, if it wasn't him, why he ain't saying who it is? Blah, blah, blah. And, Mary's like, look, I got woman's intuition. You don't. I'm the sunshine here. You're not. And I'm telling you, it wasn't Arthur. And Sherlock is like, I told you. Watson is just confused, as is probably everybody except for me, because I read it. So Sherlock is looking around. He's doing some research. He's like, he got his little, I don't know, whatever the little glass thing is, and he's searching around. He's figuring it out. So, they leave. Watson and Holmes leave. And he's like, look, he tells Alexander, come back the morning before you supposed to meet up with whoever this client is that needed $4 million, that has a crown. Like, they could probably narrow it down. It's probably the king. So come back that morning. I'm going to have everything ready for you. And I'm going to have your answer, honey. But it wasn't your son. Okay? So whatever. So they leave. Holmes, at this point, is like, I got to put on my dusty clothes, because he got sets of different clothes. He got costumes like me. Oh, I shouldn't have wore this. I should have wore like my hobo outfit. He leaves. He's like, okay, Watson, I would take you, but I can't, because I'm about to go through some dangerous foolishness. I'm going to wear my hobo clothes. I'm going to be back. Don't wait up. So for overnight, Holmes is gone. Then he see him in the morning. And then Holmes is like, girl, it definitely wasn't Arthur. But I can't tell you yet. I got to put on my other hobo outfit and I'll be back. So, he leaves. And, Watson says he don't see him till the next day. And that's the day they got to meet up with Alexander. And they having breakfast, and he just sitting there just as happy and as spunky as can be. He's like, yes, it wasn't him. It wasn't him. I told you. I'm Sherlock, baby. And Watson is still trying to figure out what the hell is going on, honey. He still don't know what's going on. He just know a crown missing 3 gems. So So he's like, I'm not going to tell nobody nothing. I'm going to tell this story one time and one time only. So we're going to wait for Alexander to get here. When he get here, I'm going to tell y'all what happened. So Alexander gets there and he looks like trash. Basura for the Spanish speakers. And why does he look like trash? Why do you think he looks like trash, Scott? It's going to have something to do with a woman.
Always does.
That's why I'm here.
So he's out with a woman all night.
That is not the answer. The reason why he looks like hot poop emojis is because Mary didn't left him. Oh Lord, Mary, the girl, the sun then went behind the clouds. Child, the sun is behind the clouds now. The sun behind the clouds. The sunshine has gone. Ain't no sunshine when she gone, honey. Okay. Hashtag Bill Withers. So Mary then left. And she left a letter saying, you know, I feel like this is my fault. And the uncle, this is one of them times where he mentioned you should marry my son. And it's like, sir, don't nobody want to marry him. You don't even want him around. Like, you don't even want him around. Why would somebody else want him around? To gamble up all their money? No. So he was like, I did mention to her that maybe this wouldn't have happened if she had married my son. And it's like, no. And he was like, maybe that's why she left the letter saying it was her fault because she felt like she should have married him. And it's like, sir, no. So Holmes is just looking at him like, you still don't get it yet, do you, Scott? And I'm the same way I look at Scott, like, you still don't get it. It's not always about women, Scott.
Okay.
And this time it's not about a woman. That's with Alexander.
Right.
So Holmes is like, how much are you? And I'm going to take this. I'm going to do this. Like, when I know I'm right, I'm just going to hold it hostage and be like, how much are you willing to pay for it? Just like that. How much are you willing to pay for it? Cheshire Cat grin. So he was like, so if I could get them diamonds back for you, how much would you give me? It's like deal or no deal. So he was like, I would pay what, honey, 10,000 pounds, whatever it takes, because I'm about to get in trouble. I got like a few hours before they come and pick up their crown, and it's not looking good. And my son in prison, and married and left. And so Holmes was like, well, why don't you go ahead, write a check for 1,000 per diamond. So that's 3,000. But then you gonna give me 1,000 because I had to put on a hobo suit. And I don't do that. I'm Sherlock Holmes, baby. And so he was like, I would pay 10 times that. What Alexander needs to do is shut up. Learn to shut up. Because I would have been like, okay, go on, write that 40,000. Write it all, baby. But Holmes is a good guy. He's a good guy. He's a fair guy. So, you know, he writes the check, and Holmes goes in his drawer. This is a dishwasher, but we're going to pretend like it's a drawer because this is daydreaming. He opens the drawer and just throws the diamonds out. He's like, boom, there go your 3 diamonds right there. And this dude is just like, oh my God. Wow, you did that. And he's like, well, what happened? Who wants to know what happened? Because I could just end it here. We could just end it here. We're 33 minutes in this game. What do you think happened, Scott? What do you think happened?
I don't know. I had a theory, but that Holmes having the diamonds already makes me think that's not it.
What's the theory?
I was thinking Mary was in cahoots with the royalty guy who had the crown. Mm-hmm. So that they can get basically it's just trying to steal the money that he borrowed.
Okay, that's pretty close. Mary is involved. So Mary don't go nowhere. And the uncle says that. He's like, oh, she's just kind of a homebody. I'm an introvert too, so I get it. So Mary, now don't forget, Arthur and Sir George Burnwell be kicking it. They like this. That's the homie. So the homie always be at the house. Who else always be at the house? Mary. So what Mary didn't understand is you don't talk to your family's friends. That's maybe it was the 1800s. She didn't know that. But Mary then hooked up with Sir George Burnwell. That's her boo now. She ain't tell nobody though, because that's Arthur's homie, and Arthur trying to marry her, which in some states they wouldn't allow. Like today, they would be like, no. So, so them two are hooked up. Now in the book, Alexander does say that Sir George Burnwell, while is a handsome guy and he's from a good family, he probably is a narcissist or a sociopath. He be doing all kinds of crimes, even though he don't have to. He just does it for the sport. And he drug his son into it. And so he said that dude broke because the family kind of didn't cut him off. And so Mary being with Sir George Burnwell means something. So remember when you were like a few, like 10 minutes or 15 minutes ago, you said he told who I was like, the two people he told, and you said the people they told. Well, what did Mary do? She ran out and told Sir George Burnwell, and him being who he is, the thief. He like, girl, what you gonna do is go take a whatever, a mechanical pencil, whatever, open that little flimsy lock and give me that crown. And she said, okay, because this is her first boyfriend. Okay. And so she does it, but Arthur hears all of this. You know, he a light sleeper and probably couldn't drink that night because his daddy didn't loan him $200, so he was probably mad. He goes and peeps all this, and he goes and fights his friend, gets that crown back because he knew, like, my daddy is wealthy. He won't be wealthy if we lose this crown. No, I don't know if that's what he thought, but I think they kept saying honor. Our honor is on the line. So I think that, I don't know. So he was like, let me get this crown back. So he fought his friend, beat him up, got the crown back, and was trying to put it back, was trying to do the right thing, and put the crown back. And that's when the daddy woke up and accused him of, stealing it. And the 5 minutes that Arthur wanted was so he could go back outside where they were fighting and look for the 3 diamonds, because his dad noticed the 3 diamonds missing. Now, why he didn't say, oh, who did it, is because he in love with Mary. He in love with the cousin. And he didn't want to get her in trouble. Or he down with the homie. I don't know. Maybe both. Maybe a combination of the both. He not a snitch. So that's what went down. And how Holmes got it, Holmes knew it wasn't, he was like, why wouldn't this man lie? Like, why wouldn't he, like, ain't nobody just gonna sit up here and take the rep for that kind of foolishness. And if his daddy keep giving him money, he ain't gonna steal, he just gonna keep begging his daddy for some money. Holmes knew. I guess he's a, I don't know, student of human nature. I don't know. So Holmes was like, that's not the answer. So Holmes had to go out in them hobo streets, asked some questions, and found out that Sir George Burnwell then pawned the diamonds.
Oh, so he felt
And that's where Holmes got the 1,000. But here we go. The dummy George, Sir George, didn't even get, like, Holmes was like, he only got like 200 pounds. I had to pay more than that. Anyway, so he ain't smart with money. And Mary ran off with him because she was indeed at fault for the whole thing. So Sherlock Holmes was like, okay, you didn't pay me my $4,000, but you owe somebody else something. And Alexander was like, anything, because he about to hurry up and run and take that to a blacksmith or whoever can fix that real quick. And he gonna throw that back to the king and thank you, pay me my $1 million in interest, which is gonna go to that son, because Sherlock Holmes was like, you owe your son an apology, the biggest apology. He was like, your son did for you what I would have wanted my son to do in that situation. You owe him an apology. And Alexander was like, period. And that's that on that about that. That's what happened. You have any last words?
No. Cleared that one up.
Did you want to show your art? I did nothing. Scott is always on it. Look, I'm so scared. So this concludes our case, my retelling of the Beryl Coronet. And yeah, go get if you want all the fine details, get that book. But as of now, we are closed.